What's up, crypto junkies? It's Jay, and welcome to a new segment we're going to call Cryptocurrency News. Now, in this segment, we're going to talk about the news. We're going to talk about all the shit that I really wish I was still doing live streams so I could just talk about all this and cover it. But since I don't really do live streams that often anymore, you guessed it, we're going to carve that out, give you guys a separate little, see what I did there? Little video. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about all the news, all the latest things going on in the crypto space. Now, funny thing about crypto is that when the price starts going down, people start looking around. What's the reason? What's causing this? Right now, what's going on is it's actually Sunday in America and the Super Bowl's on right now. So all my sports fans, sportsing it up at the sports arena, watching sports together, sporting, awesome. I hope you're having fun. Super Bowl is a big event. It's a 50-second Super Bowl. As you can see, everyone's getting wound up. This guy's wound up. I don't know much about football anymore. It's been a really long time since I played or watched it, but I get it, okay? So because that's going on, we can assume that a ton of America is pulled out of the market and not investing right now. But overall, the coin market cap, the market total is sitting at 391 billion. Here's a note I want to make on this really quick. Just because this number fluctuates doesn't necessarily mean money is moving out of the cryptocurrency market. Something that's like an obvious facepalm moment is when you realize that all this is the total supply of each coin times the current price that it's at gives you this value right here. So what could simply be happening is the price goes down, sentiment goes down, and therefore it affects the coin market cap. And the more the coin market cap is affected, more people watch it and say, oh my God, something's going on. And it has this ripple effect and affects the market, okay? So right now there's quite a bit of news going on in and around the crypto space. We have a ton of news and updates about most major banks banning Bitcoin from a credit card purchase standpoint, but also too, as you guys know, there's been an ongoing issue for American residents and citizens where their bank accounts get closed down when they're moving crypto back into fiat from exchanges like Coinbase, okay? I don't know if this is common with Gemini or Kraken, both also in the United States, but I do know that with Coinbase and especially Chase Bank and Bank of America, that's been an issue in the past. What we've got here, as you can see, is just about every single news outlet, once again, regurgitating the verbal diarrhea, stating that, yeah, most of the major banks aren't gonna let you buy Bitcoin with your credit card, which I think is a really good thing overall. I think it's really stupid to do that. We've seen how volatile this market is, swings of 30, 50, 70%. You're not going to want to fund that on your credit card because who knows where you're going to be at the end of that 30-day period when the first bill is due or 6 months zero interest, whatever your thing is. At the end of that, who knows what it'll be at. And if you haven't set yourself up properly, that is financial suicide right there, okay? So I actually like that. I think that's a good piece of news. Speaking of Super Bowl, let's talk a little sports here. This guy right here, Richard Sherman, is he's a Bitcoin advocate. So he's actually one of the faces of Robinhood, which is a new exchange that's got about a million people on its waiting list right now. And he's huge into cryptocurrency. You can see this photo here. This is actually Binance, the advanced view on Binance, which you guys know how much I love Binance Exchange. Unless it's not. Should I just make that assumption? It looks like Binance. It's got to be. All right, there's no one else that has that UI, so I'm sticking with that, unless it's Robinhood, because I haven't seen that yet. Anyway, he's huge into crypto, and what he's talking about is the fact that in the locker rooms, a big conversation is happening in and around cryptocurrency. See, 1 in 6 football athletes are still going bankrupt, and a lot of them, they're not good at the money game, and that's to be expected, right? They're really great at sports. Doesn't mean that they're going to be great at relationships, great at marriage, great at managing their money. It just means that they are great at sports. So a lot of them are getting more and more interested in self-directing their own money, meaning trading themselves, not just in cryptocurrency, but also in S&P 500, commodities, and the traditional stock market, because they're sick of the high fees that they're getting from their brokers, and they're sick of the bullshit in the games. This is a really good thing that's happening. Also, if we look at the insane rise from 1,000 to 19,000 on Bitcoin this last 12 months, then obviously it's going to capture more attention. You got sports players getting injured. What else can they do? Well, what Richard's going to do is he's going to go ahead and study up and beef up on his cryptocurrency learning. He's going to learn how to trade. I think this is amazing because when people see him doing it, they're going to think, gosh, I can do it. So it's going to start this echo effect through the sports market, which is a big market with a load of money, guys. So this is really, really good news. And it just, I guess, breathes more of the motion into the market that we're not going anywhere. There's so much integration happening right now. There's so much news happening that crypto as a whole isn't going anywhere. So for those of you who want to claim that this is the bubble and it's finally popped and compare it to tulips, then go for it. But understand that even though it's still at $8,000 right now, we are still way up. We're up over 1,000%. And overall, nothing's changed. There's more money coming into the crypto market every single day. And what I mean by that is tech. We've got a huge, 70 million, 80 million new mining farm going in Minnesota. We've got news similar in other countries all over the world. We have new regulation being rolled out. The SEC, FCC is meeting up this week on, I believe, the 5th or the 6th. And they're going to be talking about new regulation for not only ICO stuff, but just the cryptocurrency market as a whole. This represents the reality that crypto is here to stay. Now, who is the big leader this year and who really takes over the marketplace? That will shelve for another day. Anyway, so there's your bit of Super Bowl news. Quick update on the score, 19-29. There you go, folks. There you go. Okay, so let's take a quick look at Bitcoin because I want to point something out to you. There's a lot of people in our community, especially, that came in from the lending platform stuff. That's your BitConnects. That's your things that nobody wants to talk about. But the reality is that people got used to that. They created a pattern, they created a habit, and they got hooked on that game. Okay. There are other games to be played. And I want to talk to you for a second because crypto isn't that hard. People think that trading's hard and you got to put on this different brain and it's like, I need all this time and I got to have all this expertise and then I can do it, Jay. But what you're failing to understand is that there's a ton of people in the market who just hold a top 5, top 10, maybe top 50 coin portfolio or their own index, right? We're actually working on one in the community right now and still testing it. But these people, here's what they look for. They look for this right here and they buy in down here. Okay, they look for this right here and they buy in down here. They look for this right here and they buy in down here. This you can see coming a mile away. Now here's what's interesting is this whole motion, this was back on the 2nd. Remember this? Bloody day. Everybody was super sad and depressed. Ton of people left the market. Who knows how many? I'd love to actually know if there's a way to measure that, but I would guess it'd be a lot. A lot of the weak hands finally said, you know what, fuck it, I'm done with this Bitcoin stuff, had enough, right? But the reality is this was a prime buying opportunity right here because this was echoed through almost every single altcoin. And if we look right now, today, what's happening? Do we see any green? We see very little green in the top 50. Two in the top 50. What's going on right now? Another prime buying opportunity. If you don't believe me, you can just come to something like Coinigy and take a look. Here, let's look at some USD pairs. Let's go ETH to Euro. Look, hey, in sync on the 2nd with the BTC crash. In sync right now. Alts down 10, 20, 30%. Litecoin, hey, the 2nd. Remember that? Look, right now. So this is prime time to be picking these things up. Ripple, big dip on the same day as Bitcoin and let's call it the crash. A big prime buying opportunity. And here's what you might not realize is that these little riffs are huge percentages. Okay, let's grab out my little percentage guy here. If you bought at the bottom and sold off at the top, let's say you're super smart and you sold off at the top, you would be looking at a 48% gain on that, okay, with a risk to reward of well, we need to change this, but there's a very low risk to reward scenario that you could make for yourself, okay, 48%. But let's say you screwed up and you held on to it all the way until a couple days later when it's just red, 30% gain. Okay, let's actually grab out the other one. This is a little bit easier to follow. We'll just follow. We won't even look at the wick. We'll just look at this motion right here, bottom of the candle to the top, tippy top here. Right when we saw these indecision candles, right when we saw these little short stumpy candles with big wicks, let's say we decided to go there. Or we followed somebody else's TA, somebody on Twitter said, hey, it's time to sell, and we decided to do it, 38%. These are all day in these scenarios, and there seems to be a lot of these going on lately. So here's ETH. Here's what would have happened if you would have gotten into ETH right down here at the bottom. And you would have sold, let's say you messed up and you sold, you didn't even sell until you saw this big red candle forming, 19%. Let's say you waited and you really goofed up and you waited to the bottom of the red candle, 14%. Middle of the candle, you got really smart, 17%. So these opportunities exist everywhere. And those are quick plays. That was from the 2nd until the 4th, 2-day play. That'd be called swing trading. But you could also just use these times to accumulate the coin itself and sit on that coin, okay? Later on down the road, when it goes up over $2,000, $3,000, whatever it's going to do, then you would sell out. So some of these can be positioned as just a quick couple day thing, maybe generate some cash flow for yourself that feels similar to these lending programs, or you could hold on to it for a longer term, okay? There's so much that you can actually get done in this space with very little knowledge. It still blows my mind that so many people choose to sit on the sidelines and watch, assuming that it's really hard. Next. Okay, U.S. senators introduced bill exempting tokens from securities laws. This just means that some of the tokens are no longer going to be deemed as a securities in America. This overall, I think, is a positive article and a positive statement that they're trying to make, which will bring a lot more of the ICO money back into America, because right now, the ICO money is mostly left out of America. You have to check a box, you have to know your customer KYC, and basically state that you're not a US citizen or resident because they don't want you in the ICO. Along with Singapore and China, those are the countries that are mostly banned and not allowed to enter into these ICOs. So hopefully this is a step forward to allow it in some sort of way so that more people can take advantage of these. Everybody wants to get in on the next ETH or the next Bitcoin Cash or Ripple or fill in the blank, right? Everybody's looking for that. This hopefully is a step in the right direction. We'll see more news come out this week after the SEC and the FCC meet up and come up with these rules or regulations that they're planning on. Okay, time for the golden nugget for the day. Here's what I'm going to give you. This article, I don't know who wrote it, but it is amazing. I don't know how much time it took, but upvote it, give it a clap. I wish this was Steam It so that you could vote it up and give this guy some money. But basically, he outlines every single indicator. This is probably the best place to start from a written standpoint on trading basics. I know that there are a couple other tools out there that exist. I don't think they're this easy to understand, though. This was written for a very beginner to understand. So if you do decide to check this out and take a look through it, tip the guy if you like it, but this is really, really well done. We actually linked this in the community, and this is where we tell a lot of people to get started, because when you know the basics of a lot of different patterns, then you start seeing some and you kind of choose your favorite ones and decide what you want to go with. Speaking of indicators, let me give you a quick story. So I shot that video, #1 indicator for brand new swing traders. You can see it here on the screen playing now. And there's been some people who said, okay, Jay, I'm going to put this to the test and I'm going to see what this can do. One of the traders in the community decided to put this to play, and he is up 0.25 BTC right now overall. And he's only been using this for, I think, the last day or so. All right. So be on the lookout, because we're actually going to shoot part 2, which is the more advanced part. This is where I bring in MACD, RSI, and more candle talk. Also, if you haven't yet watched that video, go ahead and watch it. This is, again, an example of a very simple strategy that can yield you insane results, insane ROI. And of course, if you haven't joined the Discord, quick plug, go ahead and do that, because we're talking day trading all day long, and it is a truly diverse crypto community. Next thing I want to give you is another quick little hack that I'm sure most of you didn't know, because I didn't know up until just the other day. TradingView is always making updates. They're always building on top of the amazing platform that they've already got. Well, here's what you can find. And then you go to the symbol itself, technicals, which is this one, right? We normally land on this page that says markets, or overview rather. We usually land on a page that says overview. You go over to technicals, and here's what you will find, my friends. This is pretty incredible. Okay, so this is a mashup of all the data that they pull in, and it just basically gives you thermometers or gauges. Let's call them gauges. Those are gauges, Jay. So, and they change. So if we look at the 1 hour, that sentiment is different than the 1 week. Ah, you see? And what's the 1 month look like? Furthermore, strong buy, buy, buy. So this is looking at all the historic data that the chart has accumulated up until this point for this crypto. This is huge, my friends. Again, if you don't know that much and you need somewhere to start, this would be a great place. So right now, in the interim, they're saying it's not a good play, okay? Based off of the overall summary, the moving averages and oscillators. This is RSI, Stoch RSI, anything that's considered an oscillator. This is that breakdown, okay? And you can get more in-depth information down the page. Yes, they list out literally all the oscillators that they use and all the moving averages that they use. Wow, interesting. Let's go back to the 1 week. So 1 week is buy, and then 1 month is strong buy. Spend some time with this amazing tool, especially for beginners if you're not really sure what's going on. This is a great tool because it merges all that data. Mark my words, 2018 will be a great year for data analytics within the crypto space. Now that we've had a good year to measure, there's going to be a lot of data hitting. There's going to be a lot of new tools popping up, and they are going to make you better traders and better cryptocurrency enthusiasts. Okay. Last bit of news is I want to show you what's happening right now, real time, in case you're thinking, Jay, I love what you just said about February 2nd, but right now it's February 4th. So what we need to do is, oh, we're on to 5 minutes. I'm over here plotting this like this is, okay. Is this our guy right here? This is our guy. So here's the February 2nd motion. Once again, you see it hitting. This coin is BNB. I'm on Binance. Link underneath the video if you want to check this out. This is also the advanced view, not the basic or beginner. If we look, here's February 2nd. And then we had a huge run up here. I don't even know. That looks like 20, maybe 30% right there. And right now we're in a similar dip. These numbers, to see a coin like BNB, if you only had some basic historic data and you've seen that this thing has gone up to $25, you would know that at $8, this is an amazing buy, especially if you're willing to sit on this. Okay, again, keep in mind that read the ticker below. This isn't financial advice in any way, but when you know what these coins have done historically, right? Here's some historic high for us. Then you can recognize and see that we've been on this slow dip down. This was an amazing buy window right here on the second. If you missed that, even right now, I think is an amazing buy window. You can literally go through and see this on so many different pairs right now. Vibe is pumping right now because there was news that they're going to have their own commercial on the Super Bowl, but it turns out that somebody in a Monsters commercial is going to be wearing a hat that says Vibe. I don't know, that's not really an ad, but I guess it's a good enough play. So we saw this huge run up starting on the 4th, which was just yesterday, and now we're starting to actually come down. If you haven't sold already in these positions, probably would be a good time because this was artificially pumped up because of the news of that commercial that was supposed to happen on the Super Bowl. And now as you see the reality of it, more and more people, the news is starting to spread around on Twitter about what's actually going on. That is affecting the market. Remember, in the cryptocurrency market, news affects more than it should. We had the US dollar tether news hit last week, even though it was a 2-month-old subpoena. We've got news like that hitting all the time. The India ban, South Korea this, China that. Anytime those things hit, it affects the market. Your best chance at staying up on that is to jump on over to Twitter and follow as many exchanges and authorities, news sites as you possibly can. If you want a head start on that, you can go ahead and raid the people that we're following, 248. I believe 99% of those are in fact just TAs, analysts. Like, look at this. Look at what's going on in my news feed right now. This is how you stay up on the news. This is how you stay up on the drama, and you are filled in on what's going on. Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in with me. That is it. That is our first segment. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope we can fit this thing in under 20 minutes. But I want to start shooting more segments like this in the future. We'll do some different things with it and make it fun, do some infield stuff. But I think this will be a fun direction moving forward. Whether or not it'll be on the Crypto J or Crypto Junkies channel yet, I'm not sure. But I did want to take a moment with you and share some of what's going on in the market and in the news. If you are in the US and watching the Super Bowl, I hope your team wins. I hope you're having a fun time, kicking back a few beers and getting in some trade action while you're enjoying the game. Be on the lookout for more content hitting the channel very, very soon, my friends. See ya.